Not all of us have the luxury of saying we've had a face-off with the reigning heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, even if it's him kicking us in the groin. But Jackass Forever actor Ehren McGhehey does. For the upcoming movie, McGhehey received a raw punch straight to his sensitive areas, and Francis Ngannou himself has opened up about it. First, the Predator calls the Jackass Forever scene torturing. Francis Ngannou took to his YouTube channel recently and spoke about his special appearance in the upcoming movie Jackass Forever. According to the Predator, his victim Ehren McGhehey wasn't aware of what was about to hit him, but McGhehey wasn't the only one who got tricked by his friends. In fact, Ngannou himself thought that the punch wouldn't be real and would be done as a stunt. Both were left shocked when the time came. Ngannou narrated McGehey's reaction as being surprised and confused when the heavyweight champ showed up on set. Then the time for the actual punch came, and Ngannou had to do it not even once, but twice. Imagine McGhehey's state at that moment. For a 262-pound beast to unleash his strength where it tends to hurt the most. Ngannou himself seems to recognize the damage he might have done. He said, "It's intimidating. You know that the guy gonna hit you in the and you see him hit the bag, and you know, so this is kind of like torturing. I'll hate for force. I mean, I was nervous though. I'm like, what's gonna happen?" Like any normal person would, McGhehey turned red from head to toe when he got the first punch. Unfortunately for him, the first time wasn't good enough for the cameras, so Ngannou was instructed to go in once again. As much as it must have agonized McGhehey, the punch surely doubles up the excitement and hype for the new movie. It may very well be one of the most heavily publicized scenes for the movie right now, and the fans of both the actor and Ngannou simply can't wait. So, what's Jackass Forever all about? Jackass Forever is as ridiculous as cinema gets. The skit and prank-based movie belongs to the Jackass franchise, which has been releasing reality comedy pieces since the early 2000s. The newest addition to this absurd family of movies is Jackass Forever. Like the ones before it, Jackass Forever's creators have also made sure to put in the most outrageous pranks and puns in the film, and that includes a Francis Ngannou appearance. The cast of the show includes Johnny Knoxville, Chris Pontius, Bam Margera, Ryan Dunn, and Ehren McGhehey, among others. All of these people act as themselves and partake in some concerningly dangerous pranks, all of which are done in the public eye. While we won't spoil the movie for you, if you plan on watching Jackass Forever, brace yourself for a mix of confusion, concern, and of course a whole lot of laughter. Ngannou has appeared in quite a few films. Jackass Forever is not the Ngannou film debut you might think it is. The Predator has appeared in some other films before he got to punch McGhehey in the groin. Take the 9th chapter of Fast and Furious, for example. Ngannou portrayed a soldier in the racing saga, and a great one at that. The interesting thing about the movie when it came out last year was a surprise appearance by Ngannou. No news related to his presence in the movie was revealed, and he appeared out of nowhere when the movie was released. It was certainly refreshing to see the MMA fighter take on an acting challenge and make the most of it. His character was loved by the fans, who were equal parts shocked and thrilled to see their favorite MMA fighter on a major film. Besides Fast and Furious 9, Ngannou has also been involved in movies that come in his own domain. He's been a part of many UFC promotional campaigns, as well as many of UFC's fight-based advertisements. Several of ESPN's projects have also included Ngannou as a major figure. This only goes to show that Ngannou's skills do not end at MMA, and the guy is as versatile as it gets. In other news, Tom Aspinall has opened up about a potential match between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. UFC superstar Francis Ngannou fought his final fight according to his current contract the previous month. The contract will expire this December, and Ngannou so far hasn't shown any interest in a renewal. He's looking for a pay raise on a possible new contract, as well as the permission to compete with boxers. If these conditions aren't met, and Ngannou has made it clear, he may no longer be a part of the UFC. In addition to all that, Ngannou will be out of the octagon due to injury-related reasons. He fought his final match against Cyril Gane with an injured knee, which has further deteriorated and requires recovery before the Cambodian Predator fights anyone, UFC or not. But when he does make his comeback, Ngannou has expressed interest in fighting one of boxing's best, Tyson Fury. Heavyweight prospect Tom Aspinall recently spoke to the Mac Life and said that even though they're widely similar, MMA and boxing are still two separate sports. He said this in order to oppose a possible match, which only means that he too thinks that one will soon take place and has high chances of doing so. He personally advises against it though, as he says that sparring against top-level boxers is definitely tough, even for the best mixed martial artists. Next, Francis Ngannou has talked about his recent bout against Cyril Gane. In an interview on his YouTube channel, Ngannou has also broken down his monumental win over Cyril Cyril Gane in UFC 270. Ngannou thinks he managed to break Gane's spirit in that fight, especially during the later rounds. He said that going into the 5th round, he could tell that Gane didn't have much left in him, that he was broken. He thinks it was because he sucked his energy during those 4 rounds too much. The Predator also said that the 5th round held a lot of meaning for him. Seeing Gane in that position after the kind of publicity he received due to the fight, it was a huge moment for him. Winning the fight has been one of the biggest moments of his career, not to mention how Ngannou's knee was also injured going into the contest. Speaking about the events, Ngannou also recalled the events from his first encounter against Stipe Miocic in UFC 220. The Predator wasn't always that. He's had his weak moments, especially during the start of his career. Relating his own condition in that Miocic match to his recent bout at UFC 270, Ngannou said that he saw himself in Gane. The way Bon Gaiman got out-wrestled that day reminded him of himself. He said that when he looked over at Gane during the 3rd round, he could see a defeated Ngannou who knew he was gone the time he fought Miocic. He also recalled Gane being crushed to the point where he wasn't responding to his coaches, while Ngannou could hear them clearly. And Ngannou is with Jake Paul a 100% on fighters' pay and healthcare, rallying for increased pay himself. Of course, heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou is supporting Jake Paul in his fight for better pay and benefits at UFC. YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul has been releasing attack after attack against UFC president Dana White and his business partners. This includes a diss track that he released with an elaborate storyline depicting White and his partners as evil corporate masters, exploiting their fighters for personal gain. Ngannou, on the other hand, has also been vocal against pay-related injustice that he's claiming the UFC has done to him. The Predator has revealed that he has had to beg the network for fights in the past. He says that the UFC doesn't want to exceed a certain level of money it pays each fighter each year while maximizing its own gains from said fights. Recently, Ngannou has also expressed his support for what Paul has been saying. He says that he's with Paul 100% on the matter. He agrees with Paul on saying that the UFC doesn't provide enough security on those it relies the most on, its fighters. Israel Adesanya doesn't want Ngannou to leave UFC. Israel Adesanya is obviously unhappy with the way things are going between heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou and the UFC. After all, Ngannou is an irreplaceable part of the Three Kings, which will no longer remain applicable if Ngannou is no longer around. Adesanya talked with MMA Hour recently and expressed his own grievances with the state of affairs. Apparently, the reigning middleweight champion also thinks that it isn't fair for UFC to pay Ngannou what he's been receiving from the league as its heavyweight champion. He also said that it shouldn't get as personal as it has gotten, labeling the sport as business, which should be treated as business. Adesanya finds the current situation sad and would hate to see his friend and partner leave on bad terms with the league that currently supports his own paycheck. Not to mention, Adesanya's recently signed highly lucrative deal is being said to be a product of the ongoing beef of the UFC with Ngannou. No one can tell how much truth there is to these claims, but Adesanya's manager Tim Simpson also seems to agree. Ngannou recently bagged $600,000 for his victory against Cyril Gane. If you compare these numbers with what boxers get paid, you'd be surprised to see the difference, which is probably why Ngannou has grown increasingly interested in boxing. He also wants to fight Tyson Fury someday. That was it for today's video. We'll see you in the next one.